As educators, we all have major driving questions that really power our philosophies. And these questions are always persistent, something that we ask ourselves over and over again each and every time that we address a major tenet of our philosophy or just approaching kids in general. And I personally, as like all my other colleagues, have three specific questions, persistent questions that I ask myself. The first question I always ask myself is what is going on at my students' homes that I do not know is going on or understand? One of the big things that I'll talk about a little bit later during my personal journey was an article I read by Sharia Collier and Susan Auerbach. It's called It's Difficult Because of the Language. And in their study, they looked at migrant families and particularly students that don't speak English at school. At home, not at school, and are really ELL learners, or English as a second language. And one of the big quotes I found from page 11 was, central to the continua in the discussion of power. In many cases, the linguistic and cultural contributions of immigrant families are not acknowledged and are considered less powerful. So not only are most of my kids coming to school with knowledge of English, but they have command of English. ELL students or immigrant students do not have that command of English or the ability to speak it, and that goes on at home too. Additionally, I don't know what a student's home life is unless they open up to me. There's only so much a student database can tell me. I can see if they are low SES. I can see if they are a single student or a single child in a family. I don't know what's going on in their lives. I don't know what's going on in their parents' lives. So whenever I address a new student coming in, I need to ask. I ask myself what's going on that I don't know about. My second major guiding question is what can I do as a teacher to connect with both my students in school and their families at home? And one of the really cool things was a book that I had read for professional development of Ben Davis called How to Teach Students Who Don't Look Like You, Culturally Relevant Teaching Strategies by Bonnie Davis. And she had one example that I really, really enjoyed, and I tried to just ask my kids what's going on to build up authentic relationships between myself and my students and students and their families. And what she noticed was a teacher in middle school had just asked their kids to go home and ask your parents how their day was. And they talked about what happened after that. And the next week it was ask your parents to get you a drink or a piece of food or something like that. And it just kept building up between students, teachers, and kids. So it created an actual authentic family unit between both, like as I said previously, students and teachers. And finally, my last question that I ask myself is, what privileges do I, as a white male, have access to that some students do not? To be honest, I was born to a middle-class family. I was given education. I was given every opportunity I wanted to do, including athletics and academics. And some kids don't have access to that. So what can I do to facilitate access to something like this, or to just try and eliminate those differences between my family, between my family's past, how I was brought up, and my students' families, and their current situations. So basically, those are my three persistent questions.